Welcome back to Down the Track. It's me and my co-host Abrar Aziz. Big news coming in: the Indian T20 World Cup squad has been announced. Let me just go through the squad first, Abrar, and then I will get your thoughts on it. So we have Rohit Sharma captain. I'm just joking. Virat Kohli captain. Uh, Rohit Sharma vice captain. KL Rahul, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Ishan Kishan, Rahul Chahar, Varun Chakravarti, Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, Hardik Pandya, Ravinder Jadeja, Akshar Patel, and your boy, your man, the star of the show, Ravi Chandran Ashwin. That's your squad. And then the standby players are Shreyas Iyer, Shardul Thakur, and Deepak Chahar. Shoot, Don.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, this has been a shock of all shocks. I think I think Virat Kohli was very just wanted to apologize to Ashwin by picking him in the by not picking him in the tests. I think that's the reason it is. Anyway, jokes aside, I think. Uh, uh, Very interesting squad selection. I think there's a couple of things that I was a little surprised with. One is five spinners. I mean, I understand no team's going to play five spinners. It's almost impossible. So I'm a little surprised by two extra spinners. I guess they're going to go with three for sure. And I'm also a little surprised with the fact that they have one less batting option. Ishan Kishan's your only backup batsman in the 15 I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little surprising in terms of, let's say one or two injuries, and then that's going to be an issue. And it's very clear that Rohit and Virat will probably open. KL is
Talking
probably
about
still your middle order.
openers or wicket keepers?
So Shikhar Dhawan exclusion is a little surprising for me because I think that he's. I mean, I don't think he's done so
Gee.
badly to be completely dropped and not even be in the standby. So I'm a little surprised with that, and I understand. I guess this idea is that Rohit and Virat will probably open, and that's the discussion that they've had even in the past. Because I think KL Rahul is your middle order mainstay. There's nobody else. Shreyas Iyer was your middle order mainstay. He's not been picked. So KL Rahul brings in that position. I mean, we can go over the team, but I think the fact that they have five spinners is a little surprising. I think bringing in Ashwin is very, very smart because that gives you a little bit of an added. I mean, I'm a big fan of him, but I think it just gives it a little bit more for batsmen to think about, which is good. For me, surprising was Akshar Patel. I think
Yeah.
instead of Akshar Patel, if we would have gone in with another fast bowler or an
Shardul
all-rounder,
Thakur.
maybe Shardul Thakur because he's been performing well,
I
that would
would have
have
gone with him.
probably been smarter for me. I understand probably there's obviously some thinking behind it because Jaddu and Akshar are similar kind of bowlers. There's not a lot of difference over there. With Rahul Chahar, yes, you have that spinning option, and Ashwin and Chakravarti are those mystery kind of bowlers, so that is understandable. Akshar Patel is a little surprising for me. I really like the fact that they got in Bhuvi because Bhuvi can, he has that slower one. He has a little bit of variation, so it'll be interesting to see if I think it'll still be Shami and Bumrah who'll probably get the nod in the 11. But some very interesting thing, and the most important, I think the most important thing is that my boy Mahendra Singh Dhoni is back in as a mentor. That's it. You
Oh,
guys
that's
winning the
big
World
news.
Cup.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni is the mentor of the Indian cricket team going into the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. They're winning the World Cup. If they have the calmness of MSD in the back,
So what
that's
about
all
Ravi
matters.
Shastri?
Ravi Shastri is going to be there. I mean, obviously, his contract ending after the World Cup. I
So
don't
what will
think it's
Dhoni's role be then?
his role will be to actually talk to Virat and tell him not to do some of the silly things that he sometimes does. Probably, you don't know. But
That's very, very. I would have never thought that Dhoni would be a mentor. I mean, of course, it's amazing. We'd always dream about it, but I never thought he would agree upon something like that. And the fact that he's done that, it shows that he still wants to be involved in the team. He wants to be in the game, and I think his advice will help the younger players as well. I
I
just hope
think
it doesn't cause any issues because it's still, Kohli's team, like no matter what. So,
oh, and it's yeah, I think Dhoni is not
and
the kind
plus,
who will take any
yeah,
kind of any
and
kind of
Kohli has a good relationship with them in that
yeah.
sense.
I think it's a very good idea, because you want someone like, I mean, I guess it's been decided that Virat's here to stay, right? It's not like there's been no discussion about Virat losing captaincy or anything of that sort, and it should be also. So I think someone like a Dhoni coming in with a very smart cricketing mind, just to add some insights. As great as Ravi Shastri has been for Indian cricket, I think that there have been times where we have criticized him because there's been issues and there's been those gaping holes that we found. I think Dhoni fills that gap a little bit better. So if this is a long term idea of maybe having Dhoni come in as Ravi Shastri replacement, sure, that's not a bad idea to think about. And they're getting prepared in advance so that Dhoni can also see how things in the back end work and get some ideas and get some insights. And it's not a bad idea. It's a good. I mean, there's no lack of money, so for the BCCI, just sending in a couple other guys extra just as backup stuff is not a bad idea at all. And this is a smart move by India. There might be a couple of things in the batting in the 15 that I'm a little surprised about, but this one is a good proper master stroke.
Yeah, 100%. For me, the most exciting from the players is Bhuvneshwar Kumar because he bowled so well in that Asia Cup back in Dubai in
Yeah.
UAE. Him and Bumrah, I think they stifled each and every other team, especially in the back end. They were really good at the death. If he can, repeat that kind of performance, stay fit, I think that's the most important with Bhuvneshwar. If he can stay fit, I think he'll be lethal in the death and with the new ball as well, because he will get that hint of ship in Dubai. The first couple of overs, you will get swing. We've seen that in the IPL, and we've seen it in the PSL as well. So I think his inclusion, if he's fully fit, that will be very important. And the spinning heavy, what you said, I think is just because the pure nature of the pitches and the fact that it's going to be after the IPL, so there's going to be a lot of matches played on that, and just to have those options, I think that's why they went with it. And it's clear indication that Hardik Pandya is going to bowl, because I think they're going to go with two seamers and Pandya. That's what it shows for me, because if Pandya is playing in the 11, he has to bowl, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's otherwise you bring in a Shardul Thakur, right? Otherwise, because if you're picking him purely on as a basis of batsman, you have to play him higher up the order and have all-rounders at 6 and 7, because that's how it's going to work. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Otherwise, team combination becomes an issue. So I think that, yes, Hardik Pandya will have to bowl. I think that's the only way, but that's because that's your only other extra bowler, because your top 5 doesn't bowl. So, and then 7 to 11 is 5 bowlers. So you have to have number 6 bowling for you. So I still think with Hardik Pandya bowling, I think this is a very well balanced side. I think there's a very, very strong 11. I think if 1 or 2 players get injured, then there's that kind of cracks that might creep in. But that's my only thing. So that was one thing that we'll have to keep an eye out for. It would be hilarious if Ashwin warms the bench even in the T20 World Cup. It would be somewhat funny.
It's happening. I think that because Washington Sundar, this is what I heard, that because Washington Sundar was injured, they got in Ashwin. They wanted that off spinner who potentially they can play in the power play, have a backup option. They have Varun Chakravarti as well. So I think he might be preferred over Ashwin, but Ashwin will give you that new ball option as well, right? To bowl in the power play, especially on these Dubai pitches. Yuzvendra Chahal not making it, is that a surprise to you? For me, it was a big surprise.
It was the biggest surprise, actually. I completely forgot about that. But Yuzi, not even in the standby players, I don't know if there's an injury. I doubt there is. Is this completely...
I think he's been dropped, yeah.
I think completely just dropped. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, because there hasn't not been any T20 played since the IPL. In the IPL, he was not terrible. I mean, yes, he was a little expensive, but he was getting those wickets for Bangalore, So very, very surprising, actually. That is the one thing that I'm. It's a big show of confidence for Rahul Chahar, but. I'm extremely surprised by not picking Chahal, especially if you have 5 spinners in the team, right? I mean, it's still not picking Chahal, not even having him in the substitute back in your reserve players. Nothing. It's just very surprising.
Yeah, we have a big man in the comments. Anas and I commenting, Rashid Khan gonna rip India apart.
My boy Chun's always coming up with these interesting thoughts. I mean, of course he's gonna rip India apart. There's no doubt about it. Rash is the best spinner in the world right now, so there's no doubt about that. Yeah, I don't know. Coming back to Chahal,
that's what I feel like against these teams, the subcontinent teams, because India is in the same group as Pakistan and Afghanistan. The spin heavy might not work as much as it will against Australia or New Zealand or in England.
Rash is on another level in terms of spin, right? I mean, he's a smart cricketer as well, and he's got so much experience playing all these different domestic levels.
Probably second best spinner after Shane Warne of all time.
I think so. I think he's there, and he's still very, very young. He has about 8-10 years left in him, So he's looking very, very interesting. But yeah, it's just a little surprising that they have that many spinners in this Indian side.
And I was going to ask you about Deepak Chahar, because he's had a really good IPL couple last 2-3 seasons. He swung it with the new ball. Do you think it's because Bhuvneshwar is in the squad?
It has to be, right? Because they're exactly similar kind of players, and Bhuvi makes that cut because of that experience, and Deepak Chahar has age on his side, so he's probably going to be the as Bhuvi kind of hits sunset in his career. I think Deepak Chahar automatic replacement for him.
Yep, Don, I'm gonna go with my 11. You go with your 11.
I think it's going to be very similar.
This is gonna change after the IPL for sure. So we're gonna have another proper episode.
Yeah.
But I'm going Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma to open. One down Surya Kumar Yadav. Two down KL Rahul. Three down I am going Rishabh Pant. No, actually I will go. Rishabh Pant.
Has to be Pant. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 6, Hardik Pandya. Number 7, Ravindra Jadeja. And then 8, I will go. I actually will go Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Bhuvneshwar Kumar. 9, then the bowlers. Who are they? You have Varun Chakravarti, Rahul Chahar. That's how much. And then 2 more
9,
bowlers,
10.
right?
No, one more. Just one more.
One more. And then I'd go Jasprit Bumrah, yeah.
Has to be. I think I completely agree with all of your team, except I'll have Ash for Varun. That's it.
This is a very actually good question. I think it's actually a really great question. Anas is asking, with Dhoni's mentoring, do you think Chahar gets picked ahead of Bhuvi? The thing is, I just realized that Chahar is not in the squad, so I don't think that's going to happen. But if he was in the squad, that would have been a very interesting question, because Dhoni would really, really, I think, want Chahar to play because he's this type of player.
But this would be after the IPL, so he really wouldn't care that much. So Bhuvi will probably get an idea. If it was before the IPL, because he wants Chahar to be in good shape for the IPL, that he could have probably picked him up.
But in general, he will probably try to, have a good word for these kind of players who do play with him, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, so 2 Chennai players on the bench. Anything else you want to add apart from that? Where do you see this Indian team finishing? I think semi-finals.
I mean, I'm sure they'll get that far. There's no doubt about that. They'll probably make the semis, probably the finals. But there's a little shakiness in the batting, but there's also that little X factor in the bowling. So it's a very intriguing side. Usually you come up and you see a Indian team roll up and you're like, okay, it's a very expected side. This time they have 1 or maybe 2 surprises over there. So this
is a very controversial statement I'm going to make right now. If this was in India, I would not have said this, but I feel that India's group is tougher than the other group. The other group, you have West Indies, you have England, you have Australia. It's extremely tough, but I think the likes of Afghanistan, Pakistan, New Zealand is always India's bogey team, so that's a no already, right? Pakistan, they have a good record against, but Pakistan, Afghanistan, these guys can trouble India with their spin. We've seen Virat Kohli struggle, we've seen Rohit Sharma struggle, particularly against the leg spinner.
Absolutely, I think that there's and because of the nature of the pitches and the slowness of the pitches, most of these batsmen, especially the likes of Rohit Sharma, he likes the ball to come onto the bat. And he's going to have to change, especially after the England conditions that they'll be used to now. But luckily, the IPL is coming in, so it gives them a little bit of a chance to kind of warm up and get used to the conditions in Dubai. But I just feel like most of these players, like Hardik Pandya, he loves the ball to come onto the bat. Pant, for that matter. KL Rahul's a great batsman. I think he can adapt very quickly. Virat Kohli, he's been struggling. He's not in the best of the forms as well. So I definitely think that this batting is a little shaky, and that is my bigger worry. Because and also the likes of just Ishan Kishan coming in, who again likes the bat to come on the ball, the ball to come on the bat. So that's my thing with this batting side. They'll have to adapt very quickly, and they'll have to adapt very well to these additional conditions, with the slowness of the pitch, and really try to get. I think it's going to be a low scoring World Cup, so to say. But yeah, man. There is that worry in terms of the likes of Afghanistan, the likes of Pakistan, the likes of New Zealand, really spinning not New Zealand, but Afghanistan, Pakistan spinning a web around this Indian.
We saw New Zealand do that in India, in Nagpur, was it? They did spin a web around this Indian team.
I mean, New Zealand also has the likes of Ish Sodhi and a couple of
Santner.
I mean, Sodhi can really, if he can get right on the day, he's a very, very smart cricketer as well. So he's a little expensive, but he's your wicket taking bowler. And Santner is just he stifles you for runs, and you get frustrated and give the wickets to Sodhi. That's kind of the partnership that they have going as well. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's not going to be as easy as it sounds. So. I'm looking forward to it. The batting is my worry. The bowling I'm okay with. Extra spinner, yes, but the batting is my worry.
Yeah, I think the biggest upset of the squad announcement is that there's no Manish Pandey. I was really upset about that. He's been such a good squad player, man. He's been traveling everywhere with India. I think, come on, man. He's the best squad player.
It's just very confusing with Manish Pandey. He gets picked for these sides as a squad player, and then suddenly he gets off the BCCI, the salary cap, whatever they have, the contract list or something, and he's
He's such a good
completely
team player, man.
right.
I'm sure, like in the
But
hotel, like he has a good vibe and everything.
and yeah, and then he'll give you a beautiful 50 or 42 balls, and everyone will say like he's done a very good job.
And no, but what is his most important contribution? Standing and long on, long off, and catching these
Oh yeah,
rippers.
yeah, those
Coming in
good
as sub.
ones.
He's done it. He did it in the last Asia Cup as well. Adarsh is live is saying, I think Ashwin should be in the 11. I think our co-host has no issues with that.
I completely agree. I think over Varun Chakravarti any day of the week. And
I
he's
think
a
yeah.
he's a handy batsman at number 9, coming in as a handy batsman. Just let's say Hardik Pandya is sitting in trying to get he can maneuver those singles and give him like the strike and stuff if needed or something like that.
Yeah,
And because Bhuvi
yeah.
at 8 and Ashwin at 9, not a bad idea at all.
Not a bad idea at all. I think for me, the biggest concern, I'll just say one positive, one negative. I think just to wrap this up, I don't know if you'll agree with me. I think positive is, Kohli and Rohit, actually, their relationship looks better now. Like, on the pitch, they're communicating. And I think that will be key. I'm not saying it, I'm not trying to stir up anything, but I just think it's going to be key in a World Cup, in a situation where Virat Kohli is feeling at long on, and you have like 30 runs needed of 10 deliveries or 20 deliveries, whatever it is. Rohit Sharma communicating with the bowlers, helping Virat Kohli out with the field settings. I think that partnership will be as key as ever. I think it will be really important in this tournament.
I agree 100%. If those two can really, whatever the issues were in the World Cup, you saw it was very evident in the World Cup that they were not talking to each other. If they can put that behind them, really come out there and work for Team India, I think there's a long, long way that they can go. And I think that would be the change that India needs to really go in from the semis and finals to actually win the cup.
Yeah, 100%. I forgot what I was going to say, the negative part, but yeah, there was something I was going to say, but yeah, any last thoughts?
No, man, I'm just very excited. I'm very, very. I just read that team lineup for 4 times. There was this one. I think it was some team some page that just mentioned Ashwin. So I didn't believe it at that time. So I waited for BCCI to say Ravichandran Ashwin to make absolutely sure. I'm extremely excited for him. He's my player to watch out for.
Ashwin. I remembered my thought as well. Just remind me again. But will Anushka be in the UAE with the team? I think 200%.
अरे भाई उन्हें हर जगह जा रही कहा 100% रहने वाली उसको I think movies नहीं मिल रहे बेचारी को
It's going to be the 100%. Yeah, the negative that I was saying that going to this tournament, I think the IPL, yes, you're going to be playing in the same conditions. That's a benefit. But the fact that the players like Bumrah, Rohit, Virat Kohli, these guys who are playing in the Test series against England, it's such a high intensity series. Then they're going to play in the IPL and then World Cup. So injuries is a scare for me, to be very, very honest with you. Shami as well. So I think particularly the guys who are playing in the Test series and then going into the IPL.
That's a solid point. 100% that's a big issue. There is no doubt about it. The likes of, and these are your top 3, 4 to 5 people in the team, right? The likes of Jaddu, Shami, Bumrah, KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. That's 6 players that have played almost every Test match. Will definitely play all the IPL games and then go into the World Cup. So that's a lot of stress on their bodies for this long season that they've been going through.
Yeah, especially for the fast bowlers, even for Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, you have to understand the 30 plus now. Of course, Virat Kohli is really fit, but it takes a toll on your body. It's not
Absolutely.
easy. No matter what your age is, like you can be 20 as well, but if you're playing high intensity cricket for so many months on the go, and then with this quarantine as well, it can have a mental impact. Anas is saying, is it a positive or a con for Anushka being with the team?
I mean, honestly, before it was a little bit of a issue, but now they're starting to win a little bit. And she's been in the England tour as well, and they're winning. I mean, they're doing well as well.
Yeah. I think in this time, it's always
For me, more important than Virat and Rohit will be to see if Anushka and Ritika sit next to each other.
They weren't in the team photo. The women, the wives, the wags photo. I didn't see Ritika there. I saw Anushka there. Yeah, done with the latest thing. But wishing Ravi a speedy recovery. Yes, we do wish him that. We need him in the UAE, and
we need his motivation, his strong voice to really go out there and be like, "Let's go, boys."
Don't be surprised if you see him and Dhoni cheering to a couple of beers after winning the trophy or something like that, or even after the first practice.
You never know.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Don, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a great World Cup to look forward to. We have a lot of videos coming up because we will have to analyze other teams as well. I think the Pakistan team has come out. We need to analyze that as well. It won't be fair just looking at India. We have to look at all the other teams. So when you're free, I'll get you for that.
Yeah.
At least for the after party. Yep.
Thanks to Chunnu for those very interesting questions.
Yeah, no, we really enjoyed that. The more the merrier. Take any questions, and let's do more videos and analyze all the other teams and see who can come out strong. And we never know, it's cricket, right? Like, you can have the strongest team, but it doesn't mean you win the trophy.
Absolutely.
All right, man, take care.
Looking forward.